Did you miss me? Admit it, you missed me. You deserve a prize. Here, have a head that's always screaming.
Well, isn't that a nice YouTube channel? You should consider subscribing before I turn your head into a pumpkin or something. So, deal? Shake on it? Come on, do it! I'm watching you.
In 1989, the world was introduced to the massive hit show that is today The Simpsons, an American sitcom which dared to aim at a wider audience and laid the ground rules for animated family comedy that will air in the following decades. Not only was the family becoming as iconic as it is possible to be, but it also changed the world of entertainment for many people, including a young animation enthusiast named Alex Hirsch, who had the reflection that animation wasn't just for kids. Years later, after graduating college at the California Institute of Art, Hirsch began working as a storyboard artist under Cartoon Network for the series The Marvelous Adventure of Flapjack. This is where he met Paddleton Ward, who is mainly known for the creation of Adventure Time. Alex eventually transitioned from Cartoon Network to another animation company ruled by a mouse in overalls. That's right, he was now working under the Walt Disney banner. A dream that came true for a young man, as he even turned down a job at DreamWorks Animation while he was still a student out of the desire to work for Disney. First co-developing the series Fishhooks, he was also working on a short 11-minute format animated show inspired from his childhood, notably his memory with his own twin sister. After a short period of time, Disney executive called him to pitch his series, and that's how his concept got greenlit and how on June 15, 2012, the first episode of Gravity Falls hit the small screen. The series went on for a total of 2 seasons, before ending on a finished plot on the decision of Hirsch himself, only to be still remembered a decade after its premiere. And that's what we're gonna talk about today, ladies and gentlemen. Greetings and welcome to Screen Sync, the show where I review pop culture. I'm Alex from Azalrix, and today I am offering you a 10 years retrospective on Gravity Falls. 10 years, a decade since the first airing of what is arguably the greatest cartoon of the early 2010s. If by now you don't know what Gravity Falls is, I can only encourage you to watch it, as today's video will be full of spoilers. Hey, I'm nice enough to warn you about spoilers on a show that's already 10 years old. If you want to thank me, be sure to subscribe and activate the bell to be notified whenever a new video comes up, smash that like button, and be sure to leave as much comment as you want to tell me how great of a person I am. If you're still here, it means that you're all caught up or you just don't care about spoilers. So here's a quick recap. Gravity Falls is an animated show about Dipper and Mabel Pines, respectively inspired from Alex Hirsch and his twin sister Ariel, and their childhood memory. They are sent to Gravity Falls, Oregon to spend the summer at their grunkle Stan's mystery shack, place where he shamelessly and mercilessly robbed gullible tourists of their money with more or less success. There, Dipper will find a journal exploring all the mysteries laying beneath Gravity Falls, from gnomes to zombies, and not forgetting immortal godlike figures which cameos as Loki in a special episode of The Simpsons, but more on that later. Dipper and Mable will spend each day figuring out mysteries of Gravity Falls and embarking on a quest to save the universe from the greatest threat it has ever known. For me, I have a bit of a special relationship with this show. You see, I was born in 1998, so in the early 2010s, I was in the middle of my teenage years. And nerdy teenagers during 2013 to 2015, they watched Rick and Morty. Only problem, back then Rick and Morty was far from being as appreciated as it is today, which gave us the infamous gap between season 2 and 3. Naturally, after season 2, I was craving more weirdness. So I found myself wandering the internet searching for animated shows to replace Rick and Morty, and that's how I discovered Gravity Falls. At first I thought it was okay, nothing more, and I felt like it was a kid's version of Rick and Morty, but as the series progressed, I found myself enjoying it a little more and a little more, until I realized it had become one of my favorite shows, and in comparison, Rick and Morty was okay.
What? You dare say that Gravity Falls is better than Rick and Morty? You don't know how to evaluate a show. You should be ashamed of yourself.
Nope.
Oh yeah, well, I don't know how to react. You generally have a sarcastic or quick comment to throw in my face.
Yep, but not today. With summer 2022 wrapping up, it marks the 10th anniversary of Gravity Falls, and I really want to let the haters flow and take the time it needs and deserves to tell you how great is this show. So strap your mystery journals on and beware the mighty eye laying in the pyramid, because today I am embarking you on a journey to explore the weird town of Gravity Falls, Oregon. This is Gravity Falls, the 10-year retrospect. The voice acting. I want to make a quick point about animation. Animation is often split in two types. Western animation, mainly represented by the United States, where Disney proudly sits on their throne smirking over the head of their rivals. And Eastern animation, mainly represented by Japanese anime such as Naruto, One Piece or Dragon Ball, only to name a few. There are many codes and formula proper to a specific side of the gate, which is why some animation enthusiasts tend to separate Western and Eastern animation as two different mediums.
But they are two different mediums. You can honestly tell me that the genius of Dragon Ball can play in the same league as things like the Emoji Movie.
No, God no. They're different, but they're not separated mediums. To make an example, let's compare them to smartphones. You can choose to see Western animation as an Android and Eastern animation as Apple. You can easily recognize a Samsung from an iPhone or iOS from Android, but at the end of the day, you mainly use your phone to call, text, play Candy Crush, and let's face it, browse on TikTok while you're on the toilet. Follow me on TikTok as Elrix Alisab. And granted, even though some shows like Avatar: The Last Airbender take notes from anime in their style, you can often see the difference between a Japanese anime and an American cartoon. But at the end of the day, they're treated and animated on the same software, using the same techniques, and following the famous 12th principle of animation. From a visual standpoint, color always has the same efficiency. The same goes for composition, movement, shapes, form, and everything goes in a somewhat similar way. After that, there is the cultural appeal. In Japan, some factors are prioritized over others, where in Occident, some other key features are prioritized over those featured in Japan. Part of the reason why some people draw a line between the two clans. So long story short, they're the same, but different. But there is one key feature in animation that almost every animated project share: the voice acting. Whether you are in Japan, France, Canada, or the US, the voice actor does essentially the same job, which is crawl into a sound booth and lend their voice to a character. Having grown up in Quebec, I tend to say I really don't mind watching the show in French, English, or Japanese. It all depends on the quality of the dub. For example, the Quebec redub of The Simpsons is something almost unanimously loved throughout the province, and the same goes for the French version of South Park, which is superior in all points to the American original version.
There is no such thing as a better dub version in Eastern or Western animation. The original version is always better.
Salty, I just said the voice actor do essentially the same job wherever they are in the world.
The original version is sacred. The dub is always terrible.
The dub is always terrible, eh? Scrubs, Death Note, Full Metal Alchemist.
I hate you!
Sorry about that, he gets sensitive when we talk about readaptation. All that to say, in animation, a great voice cast is a key factor. There are some incredible actors in the world, but when you put them in a sound booth, you just hear a voice you vaguely know reading lines on a script.
Let me escort you to my box.
I'm training.
This is what differentiates a novice from a great dub comedian. As for Gravity Falls, the voice actors of the English original dub is phenomenal. And it's not surprising considering that Alex Hirsch, the creator of the series, has some experience in voice acting. So being already acclimated on the field, he knows better than anyone else the importance of a great voice cast. Before and since Gravity Falls, Hirsch managed to crawl his way many times in the sound booth on short films and more ambitious projects. Recently, he's the voice of Woody and King in the Disney animated series The Owl House.
You're going through demon puberty! Ugh, the last thing I want from you is a health class.
A series that you behind your screen love. No, there's no, I don't like it. You are that deep on a video about Gravity Falls, which means you are somewhat interested in Gravity Falls. And if you are somewhat interested in Gravity Falls, trust me on that, you love The Owl House. You just don't know it yet. As for his voice work in Gravity Falls, Hirsch has many strings to his bow. His interpretation of Grunkle Stan perfectly sells the old grumpy man with a heart of gold.
Fine, on one condition. You stay away from the kids. I don't want them in danger. Because as far as I'm concerned, they're the only family I have left.
So does his takes on Soos, the handyman who is the best friend everyone needs.
Mr. Pines, it's really you! I've been hugging strangers to practice for this moment.
He is capable of portraying the madness of the old man McGucket.
Honey Fogel and Salt Lick and Skullduggery! Man, you have got to teach me some of those old man swear words.
But by far the most impressive work is Bill.
I think I'm gonna kill one of them now, just for the heck of it! Eeny! Meeny! Miny!
Bill Cipher is the main antagonist of Gravity Falls. He is as enjoyable as he is scary and dangerous, and Hirsch, even though his voice is slightly modulated, does indeed manage to portray the instability of Bill, but also his insecurity. When Bill is mad, I believe it. So it is when he's scared, happy, or empowered. As for the rest of the cast, Jason Ritter in Dipper is exactly what an awkward teenager should sound like. So is Kristen Schaal in the voice of Mable. She does sell the hyperactive, imaginative little girl who doesn't want to grow up as aspect of her character.
To unleash ultimate power? I do like things that are ultimate.
That's exactly why we need to go trick-or-treating, Dipper. We're getting older. There's not that many Halloweens left. I guess I didn't realize it was already our last one.
There is Justin Roiland, the creator of Rick and Morty, who cameos as Blendon the Time Traveler, which gave birth to my personal theory on this messed up shared universe.
It was those kids and their leader, Waddles!
That's a pig, Blendon.
I'll get you for this! I'll go back in time and make sure your parents never meet!
And obviously, next to all that, there is one of the coolest, if not the coolest man alive, J.K. Simmons in the role of grunkle Forbes.
Dipper, do you trust me?
Well, yeah, but...
Then you'll trust that that's not important. Mabel will be fine on her own. She has a magnetic personality. I watched her become pen pals with the pizza delivery man in the 60 seconds he was at the door. I haven't been in this dimension for a while. It's okay to give children weapons, right?
Seriously, you give J.K. Simmons the okay to have a mustache or to yell at a teenager and then he's like...
Son of a bitch, I'm in!
Animation. Animation and special effect tend not to age well. Let me explain. Lately, I was rewatching Sam Raimi's Spider-Man with my girlfriend, and even though the effects were groundbreaking in the early 2000s and that they are still very acceptable today, we still can see how far we got technologically speaking. In terms of animation, even traditional stuff such as the early seasons of Family Guy or The Simpsons, when you watch them with 2022's eyes, even if it's still impressive, you start noticing some less than eye-pleasing factors. But for Gravity Falls, not only in 2012 the animation was great, it still perfectly holds up today. This animation is 10 years old, and this one was released last year. The difference? The job was done properly. It's as simple as that. There are some line animation that you need to jiggle around and to know when and when not to cross regarding the laws of physics, light, shadows, and everything that makes the world real. Gravity Falls has a setting of two normal kids discovering abnormal phenomenon, so the laws of physics in the show are somewhat realistic, especially for humans, without being perfect. Opposing to shows like Codename Kids Next Door, which is far more cartoony, built in a universe where physics matters less. Something that is being lost in Hollywood's animation studios nowadays, abandoning the traditional animation for the far more real-worldly vibey CGI. Because somehow in 2022 the main requirement for being a great animated product is to look as real as possible. We do have live action for that, you know.
You are so right, CGI sucks. It's nothing compared to the great work of artists and practical effects specialists.
Didn't say that. I have the deepest respect for CG artists. CGI is often regarded as a lazy way to work compared to the rest of special effect and animation, but seriously, sit your ass behind a computer modelizing a dragon for 70 hours a week and tell me about lazy. But speaking of CGI, Gravity Falls does does use some, but it is clever in its using. Most traditionally animated shows tend to overdo it when they have access to CG technology, like Yu-Gi-Oh! 5Ds, which has great general animation, especially considering the time frame in which it came out, but when it throws big CGI battle in the middle of the episode, which breaks the continuity and puts a dark spot on the cinematography of the moment, yeah, it's pretty bad. It's mediocre CGI with somewhat great animation. But here, Hirsch and his team knew when to and when to not use this technology, resulting in a great and eye-pleasing product that actually looks finished. I'm looking at you, pathetic No Way Home special effects! Look at that, it's in 4K and it looks like an early PS4 cinematic. The camera can't even follow him properly. There are millions of dollars which went into this scene and the result is borderline insulting to the entire cinematic industry! The Imagery and iconography are related to what you see, what emotion is communicated through light, colors, shapes, shadows, and everything in between. But also, imagery gotta be coherent to itself to properly establish the world you are trying to build. A few examples of great imagery. Imposing figure wielding a weapon, epically crafted armor, and unique cara design. There you go, that's a Dark Souls boss. Mixture of space travel and heroic fantasy in a Viking iconography. Yes, this frame is from the first Thor. Meanwhile, a bad imagery can ruin your product. This is mainly why I don't like regular shows, because the characters all look like different character idea who were thrown in the hat of a magician and picked at random. For shows like Rick and Morty, which have, yes, a larger imagery, we often have a recurring factor here, mainly the pupil of the character, which are these black ink spots. On that note, of course the imagery of Gravity Falls is beautiful! Look at the theme song alone. Awesome, the lighting effect, gorgeous, and the mixture of art style, wonderful. On the more general side of things, it is very appreciable how much detail went on the background design. It's a background, the one thing that has one purpose, and it is being in the back, and it's beautiful! Regarding the chromatic effect, it's a fancy word for colors. The efficiency and mastering of the color wheel is not to be debated. You notice the mixture of warm and cold colors such as green and yellow or blue and orange to create a feeling of comfort, which is why when they break their own color palette, the effect is so efficient. Meanwhile, we're dealing with a team that knows how to compose a frame. The art of frame composition involves everything you see. Why each character, background element, and any element in general is where they are. Here's a quick roundup of my favorite frames in the show. First of all, there is this famous shot of Mabel in front of the portal. Notice how it frames her perfectly. Bill and Forbes having their fallout, this is when you truly see how powerful Bill really is, which makes it all the more impressive in this shot when Stan rises above Cipher, standing out to the demon, a truly powerful moment. But here's my favorite shot in the entire show. In this scene, we, as the audience, think Bill as one. The tone of black and red represent danger, the kids on one side, the old twins on the other. Standing between them is Bill. All that scene overlooked through his giant eye in the background. Only Cipher's gigantic eye overseeing everything, something which we can find in almost each episode.
I couldn't help but overhear you talking aloud to yourself in this empty room.
Soos, you've seen Mabel's boyfriend.
Who left the blinds open? Wax John Wilkes Booth, I'm looking in your direction.
It's not Egyptian. It's not numerology.
As far as character design goes, our cast is not in rest. Stan, Dipper, and Mable, or Golden Trio, is pretty much what you could expect from these characters. But they managed to be iconic and classic without falling in the cliché territory. Dipper is not a kid with a hat. He has this specific pine tree cap, and the same goes for Stan and his suit and hat. As for Mable, she has multiple sweaters, each with unique design and colors. In animation, the background and supporting cast are often brushed over quickly for time-consuming reasons. For example, in this anime frame, can you spot the main character? If you're anything more than a dumbass, I think it's fair to assume you did it. But in Gravity Falls, everything from the texture to the extra is well represented. Look at these shadows, these colors, or even the general folks of the town. They each have their own personality represented in their cara design, whether they are recurring supporting character or not. Wendy is the daughter of a lumberjack. She embodies the pretty but tough look, while Soos is the perfect hybrid between an handyman and a giant teddy bear. In this case, we can judge the book by its cover. For the more side characters and the extra, etc., even though they're brushed over a little more quickly, they're not botched. We think obviously of the cop duo, Lazy Susan, or Toby. All folks uniquely designed to give Gravity Falls a sense of life, a sense of being a real town in Oregon. Some place that will evolve through the episode to give a chance to our character to evolve too. Speaking of which, the characters. No matter how great your setting is, if your main characters are poorly treated, the show is bound to be forgotten. Case in point, How I Met Your Father. Here, the art and driving force of the Gravity Falls characters consists in one word: family. Let's start with the kids. We have Dipper, who overlacks self-confidence, but who is also way smarter than he should be at his age. An old soul who does the right thing and who believes in greater good.
Let go of my sister! If all this is for Mabel, then ask yourself what Mabel would want you to do. Everyone's waiting. Do it! Oh, Bill!
Mabel is the silly kid. She's far from being stupid, but who can be perceived as such when in fact she's just overflowing with energy. She's the fun kid. Pretty much everything you could expect from a girl that age, in addition of being a genuinely likable person in her behavior.
I am the god of destruction! And give him pretty hair!
So be it.
What? You do that for me?
You like me? Yes. Definitely. Absolutely.
I rigged it.
To perfectly sum it up, look at this shot. This is from episode 1, Dipper thinking and studying while Mabel hyperactively jumps on her bed. That is as much Gravity Falls as it can get. Then there's Grunkle Stan, a convicted con artist, but who rarely crosses the line of dishonesty. His story arc is mainly learning how to accept and admit how much he cares about his family, mainly Dipper and Mabel.
I can't believe it! I thought I lost you! You stay away from the kids. I don't want them in danger. Because as far as I'm concerned, they're the only family I have left.
We see him grow from a narcissistic and borderline sadistic old man to a father figure for the kids who would do anything to protect them and everyone they love.
You're gonna hear some bad things about me, and some of them are true. But trust me, everything I've worked for, everything I care about, it's all for this family.
While morally discussable, Stan would do anything for his family, and underneath that tough skin, you can actually see a heart of gold. The subtlety of the writing of Stan is also the fact that underneath all that, he pretty much hates himself. All negative and positive energy personified by his best frenemy and twin brother, Forbes, an interdimensional traveler, author of the journal, and probably known through the multiverse as a vigilante. Stan and Forbes essentially represent what Dipper and Mabel will become if they don't stick together. Forbes being the future of Dipper, wise, smart, and calm, a great scholar and an investigator regarding the mystery of Gravity Falls. And Stan being a parallel of Mabel, chaotic and always acting before thinking. He also acts like a mentor for Dipper, just like Mabel helps him overcome a lot of his flaws, mainly his arrogance and his uptightness. And this is where the difference between the two relationships mainly lies. Dipper and Mabel upgrade and uplift each other. They help each other become the best version of themselves.
Awkward sibling hug?
Awkward sibling hug. Pat, pat.
You've beaten Bill twice before. Why is this time any different?
Because then I had Mabel.
Then you need to get Mabel back.
Oh yeah, it's unnatural for siblings to get along as well as you do.
Don't worry. We've still got plenty of summer left to drive each other crazy.
As for the older twins, the recluded attitude of Forbes towards his brother pretty much brings out the worst in Grunkle Stan.
Get rid of this book? Fine, I'll get rid of it right now.
No, you don't understand.
You said you wanted me to have it, so I'll do what I want with it.
My research.
Some brother you turned out to be. You care more about your dumb mysteries than your family? Well, then you can have them. Between me and him, I'm not always the bad twin.
Between him and me. Grammar, Stanley.
Oh, Grammar Stanley!
Stanley! Do something!
Then there is Soos, the handyman of the Mystery Shack, but also a big brother figure for the kids who looks up to Stan like a father figure.
I promised Stan I would guard this with my life.
Hey, I gave you an order!
Sorry, Mr. Pines, if that is your real name, but I have a new mission now. Protecting these kids!
A really nice and heartwarming element in the show, especially when you realize what is the relationship between Soos and his real father.
Oh, it's for my dad, actually. I haven't seen him in like 8 years. But he's coming today. Sorry, champ. Couldn't make it this year. Real busy again. See you next year for sure. Dad.
But Soos is also the good friend with no boundaries, the one friend who knows you better than yourself and helps you cope with your flaws, only doing it because that's who they are.
This is for the zombies.
Thanks.
And this is in case you see a piñata.
Thanks?
Closing our main cast, last but not least, we have Wendy. At first, she's depicted like this lazy teenager before we realize that she's indeed the bravest heart in the series. Above the fact that she did take on a shapeshifter one-on-one and survive the apocalypse on her own, Wendy is also a great example to follow. For Dipper and Mabel, she acts as some sort of guide towards their teenage years, some sort of rite of passage to adulthood.
I now officially declare you technically teenagers. Welcome to Angst and Acne Forever. One of us.
In fact, I tend to say that Dipper overcoming his crush on Wendy is some kind of metaphor for maturing up, going from a quirky kid to a smart teenager to probably finally grow into a courageous and wise man. The rest of the characters are pretty much just running gag. Old Man McGucket and Pacifica represent respectively the archetype of an old crazy man and an uptight kid with too much pressure, although they end up feeding the plot. As for even lesser characters such as Toby, Thompson or Robbie, they're down to stereotype of losers and emo kids. All characters giving life to Gravity Fall. What's going on?
As you little human, there is no such thing as a Gravity Falls video without me invading your universe. Not talk about me or else I'll...
Oh, I was just getting to it.
You were?
Of course I was. You're Bill Cipher, my favorite Gravity Falls character, my favorite villain, all fiction put together. I could not go and not mention you. Where's Captain Salty, by the way?
Don't worry about it.
Please let me out! Let me out!
Why didn't you mention me earlier in the character segment?
Because you deserve your own segment regarding as how Bill Cipher is a mystery.
Finally!
It's a secret for no one. There are countless clues and puzzles hidden in the background of Gravity Falls. Starting with simple reference going all the way to a real-life treasure hunt set up by Alex Hirsch a few years ago, Gravity Falls is a goldmine of Easter egg. But its greatest puzzles are all related to the greatest character, Bill Cipher.
It just sort of, I woke up one morning like, oh, I know what I'm gonna do. I'm gonna commission a statue of Bill Cipher. I'm gonna go out into Oregon. I'm gonna film that statue. I'm gonna hide a clip of that film inside the episode. I'm gonna throw an international treasure hunt where I go to Russia and I go to Japan and I go to all these other places. I'm gonna hide clues. It's gonna be like National Treasure and the entire internet's gonna work together and they're gonna find this thing.
So first of all, what is Bill? No, it's not a setup for a further explanation. I'm really asking you, what is Bill? Because there is nothing clear-cut about this character. It is semi-confirmed that he destroyed his own universe, that he had a twin brother. He is without any doubt in the top 3 most powerful character in Gravity Falls, and it is the greatest character. In terms of character design, the animators had fun with him. He is often seen warping reality and shapeshifting, following his mood and the tone he is trying to give off. In terms of voice acting, sorry to repeat myself, but Alex Hirsch did a wonderful job voicing Cipher.
And I know a riddle. Why did the old man do this?
This?
Fetch me Gideon and take the rest of the day off. Things just got a little more interesting. You wait here. I've got some children I need to make into corpses. Just a job, kid. No hard feelings. I've been keeping an eye on you since then. Stanley!
He is believable when he's happy, mad, and his most impressive feature is the ending of the show, when an old man steps up the mad god, gives an incredible rant about family, and that's it.
Turn around and look at me, you one-eyed demon! You're a real wise guy, but you made one fatal mistake. You messed with my family.
And when Bill yields and starts begging him to spare his life.
You're making a mistake! I'll give you anything! Money, fame, riches, infinite power, your own galaxy, please! No! What's happening to me?
And that's it, that's as concrete as Bill Cipher gets. Everything else is just pure speculation. Although I gotta mention, there is a very popular theory saying that Grunkle Stan himself is the reincarnation of Bill, a different form taken by the Mad God after his seemingly death at the end of the series. And if you are interested on my take on this theory, and you want to see how he's not Stan but actually Dipper, be sure to check my Gravity Falls theory about it. To truly understand how great of a villain Bill is, it's time to take out our best friend in this this channel, the good old overarching plot. Bill himself, in his regular manifestation, only appears in a handful of episodes, 6 or 7 if I'm not mistaken. 6 or 7 episodes out of the 40 total episodes of the show. But Gravity Falls being a primarily episodic show with episodes you can watch in a random order, his overarching plot and entire storyline leading to Weirdmageddon, the series finale, is developed in the background in almost each episode, but only really present when Bill does appear. Each real apparition of Cipher is a memorable episode, and generally, the stories surrounding this character are counted as the greatest episode of the show. The entire Weirdmageddon saga, the 3-part finale of the series, is counted in the top 10 Gravity Falls episode on IMDb. And who's the main villain? Bill. Meanwhile, you can see Cipher in the background somewhere in almost each episode, lurking and watching our main characters through his bright yellow eye, in addition of his apparition at the end of each theme song. So is that it? Is it the great character design, the great animation that makes Bill so much of an iconic villain? No. Bill is great because he is at the image of Gravity Falls. A seemingly simple and light-hearted entity shadowing a huge puzzle to be solved, carried by passion with much more depth than what appears. All the reason making Bill the greatest character in Gravity Falls, and Gravity Falls one of the best shows to ever hit the small screen, sparking a rebirth for animated series and paving the path for other shows to follow its legacy. Gravity Falls is not soon to be forgotten. To this day, it is remembered by the fan and the studio executive. On the production and entertainment side of things, many fans, myself included, believe Gravity Falls to be the inspiration for so much great project that came after it. We obviously think about the weirdness of Rick and Morty, which is often looked as an alternate universe in the Gravity Falls timeline, following all the Easter egg Justin Roiland and Alex Hirsch dropping in their respective shows. The innocence of Star versus the forces of evil, following a relatively similar path. Then more recently, there is Amphibian, which shares a lot of iconography with Gravity Falls. Steven Universe also shares a lot in animation style, color, and the LGBT theme. Alex Hirsch has leaked email from Disney asking him to change the scenario, as the gay relationship between the two couples was way too obvious for Disney executive.
As noted in previous concerns, their affectionate relationship should remain comical versus flirtatious.
Nope, they're buddies.
The rules, we're gonna zap you.
Zap, zap! We're mad with power!
And love.
And speaking of LGBT relationship, we can name what is, to my sense, the best successor to Gravity Falls, The Owl House. Here, not only this relationship is handled with care, but also the entire show is similar in tone. We found ourselves following the same kind of action-packed adventure full of humor and weirdness, only trading the science and weirdness for the wonders of magic. When it's done as well as that, I would be okay if the creator of The Owl House and Gravity Falls were to reveal that The Owl House is indeed a secret sequel to Gravity Falls, or that it takes place in the same universe or multiverse, or even to put Bill Cipher on The Owl House, because that's what is called a spiritual successor. On the side of fans, not only has the fandom not died, but it's also as supportive and as passionate as ever. It's been 10 years, a decade in which we as fans have grown up with Dipper and Mable. They are now following us just like we followed them a decade ago. They still live and evolve through video essay like this one, or through fan art which are released everywhere on the internet on a regular basis. Showing how much this fandom cares for the show, showing how much we as an audience are grateful for Hirsch and his entire team to produce such high level quality content. Meant to elevate Gravity Falls as high as possible, to carry this project with love and passion, sparking a new day above the animation market and carrying a message of love, dedication, and wonder. So from all of us, from all my community, and from the bottom of my heart, if someone involved with the production of Gravity Falls ends up watching this video, I say thank you. Thank you for producing 40 of the best episodes to ever air on TV, and for giving us something so wonderful to love.
If you've ever taken a road trip through the Pacific Northwest, you've probably seen a bumper sticker for a place called Gravity Falls.
Kids, You knuckleheads were nothing but a nuisance, and I'm glad to be rid of you.
It's not on any maps, and most people have never heard of it. Some people think it's a myth.
It was terrible. I was the biggest wimp on the playground. That's why I'm hard on Dipper, to toughen him up, so when the world fights, he fights back.
You think it's actually working?
I did it!
You two, at it!
Wait.
Uncle Stan!
Kids! I can't believe it! I wanted to say that you're gonna hear some bad things about me, and some of them are true.
Physical form? Don't mind if I do!
But trust me, everything I've worked for, everything I care about, it's all for this family.
I think I'm gonna kill one of them now, just for the heck of it! Eeny, meeny, miny!
You wait! My only condition is that you let my brother and the kids go.
Do a pretty good impression of my brother, don't I? Switch clothes and no one can tell us apart.
Fine!
No, Grunkle Ford, don't trust him! You're going down, Bill. You're getting erased. Memory gun. Pretty clever, huh?
It's a deal! Do some brilliant thing that takes me down right now. What do you got, Pine Tree?
Hey, look at me. Turn around and look at me, you one-eyed demon. When push comes to shove, I'm actually proud of you. You're a real wise guy, but you made one fatal mistake.
Everyone's waiting. Do it!
Oh, Bill! You messed with my family.
You're making a mistake. I'll give you anything. Money, fame, riches, infinite power, your own galaxy, please! No! What's happening to me?
Don't wait. Take a trip. Somewhere in the woods.
Guess I was good for something after all.
So there you go, guys. This is my take on the 10-year retrospective of Gravity Falls. Tell me in the comments, what do you think about the show and who is your favorite character? Is there something you want to clarify, something you want to add, something you disagree with? Be sure to debate there. And while you're there, remember to subscribe and activate the bell to be notified whenever a new video comes up, to follow me on my Instagram to support my artwork. I do some pretty sick fan arts. Then share this video with all your Gravity Falls fan friends, and as always, thanks for watching.